All right, we are now logged into the Sawin mobile app and we are looking at the tech call screen. First things first, we want to make sure that we're on duty as a technician. So at the top right, we're going to go ahead and press on duty. It's going to go ahead and register at the time in which we're registered at this moment. We can also put in our mileage if we want to put that in here now. We can also put in a time in which we need to be here. We can hit save there. Now, once we continue here as we're on duty, we can see what date it is. We can see it's Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. We can see that there are no parts requested of us, and we can also click the pinpoint icon to see where this is on a map when we can zoom in as close as we'd like. Now, as we come back over here to this screen, we can also see that there is a card of information. We can see the address here. We can see the point of contact. We can see the time in which we're expected to go out there and the duration. We can see the description on what is going to take place once we arrive. We can also see the time it will end if we set a start and an end date. We can see that this is assigned. We can see that they have an expired contract. We can also see that there is a purchase order or area for purchase order or parts. Once we go from here, we can see to the right here the total distance it is from where I'm currently located. We can also click on the pinpoint for this location if we have multiple locations, and we can hit the dial icon to dial out to the primary contact as we are on our way. Now, when we click inside of the card there, of information, it will open up the card details for us where we have the ability to not only see the information, but what type service type this is, if there's an invoice or total amount available. We can see if we've been dispatched, parked, or completed this job. We can see some special instructions if there is a code of some sort or a note of some sort, specifically for how we need to handle this customer. We have work descriptions, and we have a new feature in which we call workflow. Workflow requires you to set up a stage by stage process for your team to complete as they are completing work orders. The primary focus and function of this is to continue to use the program and use the software in a workflow manner that allows predictability and quality of service. Now, as we go down from here, we can also see that we have the calls here as well as locations. We can see if there's purchase orders, parts, tech notes, work signature, documents, where we store images as well as videos. We can also see that there are checklists here. Checklists can be for any variation of need of things that you do to diagnose out there in the field or over the phone. We can also see that there can be recommendations as we wrap up this job. Now, as I stated, we're going to go right here into workflow. And we're going to see here that there is a requirement of me to complete these things as I go forth. So the next thing that it needs me to do is to dispatch out to the location. So I'm going to tap on dispatch, and I'm just going to hit the save button here. And I'm now dispatched out to that location. Right? Now, in most cases, what I then will do, will hit the address here. It will open up my Google Maps or Apple Maps, depending on your preference, and it will allow you to see the amount of time as well as the tolls that it takes to get to that location. As we go back into the mobile application, we are now back where we can continue in our workflow. And from our workflow, the next thing that we need to do is we need to arrive on location. We are now arriving on location. And once we have done that, we will hit save here. Now, once we hit save there, we've now arrived. So between the dispatch and arriving at the location, we have completed the drive time clock. We are now in the labor or work time clock from the time we arrived on site to the time in which we complete the work order. Now, as we continue to go, we can go up here and continue to generate through the workflow. Now, next thing that we are requiring is to attach equipment to the work order. And I'm going to stop there because there are so many different things that you all can do that is different based off of the industry or the service type and the customer in which you work with. So you all will be able to build various workflows as you go to complete the job, to take pictures, to adding parts, to creating the quote, to giving the invoice, to taking the payment, to completing the work order, and emailing out the invoice. Now, if we've done everything that we've been asked to do, we've added in our work description here. What we now have the ability to do is go ahead and complete this call. Now, how we complete this call is putting in a time in which we will complete the call. So I will complete the call as it is greater than that of the time in which we arrived. I'm also going to select an outcome code, whether the job is completed or there are different folders in which you all need to store them in to reschedule or to approve. I'm going to go ahead and mark completed, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Now, the reason why it's not saving here is for a number of reasons. It's one, because of the workflow, and two, because I have not, as it states here, I have not completed the work description based off of the mobile application requirements. So what I need to do is I need to go into work description. I need to add an additional work description, and I can go ahead and select out of my prefixes, my preferences, and you all will be able to set this up. I hit done, I hit save. And now I have completed the work description, and now I can continue to go through and complete this this job. Now, as I press on completing of this job, I now have the ability to go ahead and invoice it out to the customer. So if I scroll up to the top, I now have an invoice number here, 1963. I can tap that invoice number, and this is going to be the process in which I can receive payment. From here, I have the ability to add pricing items by hitting the orange add button, and I can add any item that I need from here. I also can scan, as I stated before, we do have the ability to be able to scan a barcode. You can scan a barcode here that allows you all to plug that information in automatically to this invoice. From here, if I am done with the invoice and I am ready to go ahead and receive payment, what we will now do is we will hit the top right, and we can do a number of things. But I'm going to go ahead and hit take payment. I'm going to select my payment type. I'm going to select for my variations of payment type. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and do Visa. I'm going to plug in the reference if necessary and the amount and hit pay. And now I will be able to go in and select a card that is either on file, or I can go ahead and send a receipt and an SMS over once I plug in the credit card here, or save the card. So you have some options there that you can do. Once you have received the payment, it will state that the payment has been paid in full. So let's go through the receiving of a payment. So let's say we received cash. The balance now will turn 0, remaining balance 0. We go back over to the invoice. We now have the ability once again to email this out to the customer.